by Barry Hutchison. Mr. Mumbles is the first, again in a series of 6. Only the first 2 have been released so far. Reggie Maggie was released back in August. This was released in February. It's a horror story, which I actually received this from Barry Hutchison. I got it in the mail the day that the book came out. I won it on his YouTube channel, which I'll leave a link to in the bar below. So he says, "2 pals and thanks for all the support. Let's get ready to mumble." He's a bit of a joker. Although the book's a little more serious. I mean, it's light-hearted, but it's also, you know, about an imaginary friend who comes back from, I can't even remember what he calls it. But basically, you know, the darkest depths of your imagination. He comes back from that to murder the main character, Kyle, because he's been trapped away for so long. And Mr. Mumbles is Kyle's imaginary friend from whenever he was a kid. Raggy Maggie's somebody else's, but you know. And it's a really, really creepy book. But you know, brilliant for children. It says 9+ on the back. I recommend 11+, but you know, it really depends on whether or not the child scares easily. And you know, they might want to be scared. You know, it is a horror story. You have to let them try these things out, because you can't just keep children in the shadows the entire time, because eventually they're going to find something in there they don't like. And you know, I think this is a great way of actually getting them into a whole new genre of story, because you know, it's not just you know, something trying to kill him, because he can fight back. He does discover that he can fight back. He has his own imagination to fight Mr. Mumbles with. So it's a really, really interesting story. I've never actually read anything quite like it, and I've read some pretty weird fiction. That this is actually, it was one of my favourite books. I think this and Paper Towns are my 2 favourite books in the entire list of books for the book club. And I think, aside, like, Paper Towns was more influential in terms of how I experienced the world, but this was probably better for its age group, because Paper Towns, despite being an astounding novel, it is actually it's in a huge market of young adult fiction, which is generally unappreciated but still read, whereas Mr. Mumbles is lower down. You wouldn't get teenagers going straight from Mr. Mumbles because it wouldn't be in their section, and it's actually in the area that kind of gets left out a bit. I mean, there's even younger than this, there are books that are read, so between like 5, well not 5, maybe 6 and 8, kids will be reading books, and then teens will read books, but then there's a gap, and Mr. Mumbles fills in the gap a bit where books should be read. I mean, there are other great authors like Garth Nix and stuff in there, but Mr. Mumbles is something that really has to be read and enjoyed, because it's a new series, and it takes things completely a different way than what you'd expect a kid's book to. Like, it's dark, but it's also, there's a lot to do with family in it, because the main character doesn't know his father, and he's trying to find out who his dad is. So he has a strong relationship with his mother, and you know, they have their fights and stuff like that. And it's really something that kids can relate to, because everyone has an imaginary friend, and if they don't have an imaginary friend, kids do have a strong imagination. They do make things up in their heads, and this sort of just, it's a great way of tackling that, because you know, reading is basically about using your imagination. So I would wholeheartedly recommend Mr. Mumbles by Barry Hutchison. It's the first in the Invisible Fiend series. The first 4 books have actually been shown on Amazon. I can't remember the 3rd and 4th titles, but Raggy Maggie is the 2nd book out. I haven't read it myself yet, but I will be doing very soon, as soon as I get a chance from college. So that's it. That is the new book club. That is my scheduled reading anyway. I was planning on bringing it up to the new year, but I really don't have time to read the books that are on the list, because I haven't read at least one of the 2 that I picked. I might as well tell you it was The Hunger Games, and maybe if someone wants to review that, they can either post it as a video response to any of the videos here, or they can just email to me, at the newbookclub@gmail.com. I think that's the right thing. I'll leave that down in the box anyway. But it's I'd love someone could review it, because I haven't had a chance to even buy it myself. And as far as I know, it is actually a brilliant book. I can't tell anyone about it because I don't know much about it myself. I can't remember what the other book was, but I don't think that really matters. So I'll probably have more book reviews posted up in the future. They'll be a mix of young adult and of adult, and I will specify which they are before I start getting into the review, so that kids don't start reading anything that's inappropriate for them. Oh, I never actually said The Alchemist I would place more closer to young adult fiction, not for younger fiction, because it's just the language and the length of it probably a bit too complicated. I mean, kids, I don't think there's anything really offensive in it, but there are deaths in the series as well. So it's just something parents have to watch out for if they're buying for their kids. There are deaths in the books that I recommend, but they're not savage murders unless that's the style of the author, like Darren Shan, where things are done, but it's always demons doing the bad things. So yeah, that's it, I think. Anyone who wants to post any reviews on this channel, just let me know, and obviously there will be a link back to your channel then if you send a video to me. And yeah, I suppose that's it, and thank you for watching. Thank you anyone who's actually been following the series of books as I've posted them up. I know some people did try to get Paper Towns, but like I said, it is difficult to get in Dublin unless you buy it online. So that's it, and thanks again.